Welcome back, it's Zion from Uke on Demand, and this week we're going over an intermediate version of What Child Is This? We do have an easy arrangement at ukeondemand.com, which sticks to the simple melody like this. And that is available for members, and that version is also compatible with both high G and low G ukuleles. This intermediate version, however, that we're going over in this video will require a low G ukulele. We're going to be going over the first part of the lesson in this video, but you can get the rest of the tutorial and the tabs for both versions at ukeondemand.com. And so to begin, we're going to start out by picking the open A, and then we're going to go into an A minor. This is going to look a little bit different than your usual A minor, which is just the second fret of G. Instead, we're also going to have the ring finger on the third fret of A. So it'll be second fret G, third fret A. And strum that once. And then we're going to just leave the chord where it is and pick the strings. We'll start with G, then C, and E. But before we pick the A, we're going to bring the pinky up to the 5th fret right here. Pick that A string once. And as this note is still resonating, we're going to slide that pinky up to the 7th fret. So it'll sound like this. Starting at 5th fret, like that. And once the pinky is at that 7th fret, we're at the beginning of measure 3 now, we're just going to go ahead and strum this chord. So it'll be 0, 0, and 7. And then just pick the open C and the open E string. Then pinky, still on the A string, slides up again to the 8th fret. Pick that once, and drops back down to the 7th fret, and pick the C string. Now we're going to go into a G5, which is just index finger on the 2nd fret of the C, middle finger on the 3rd fret of E, and pinky on the 5th fret of A. Now as you're doing this chord, you're going to actually want to turn your index finger into a bar as you're doing this, because in just a moment we'll need that 2nd fret of A, and so it'll just be a little less work for you later on if when you initially start this chord you just go ahead and flatten that index finger over the 2nd fret. So we're going to just strum this chord once, and then leave the chord there and just pick the strings. We'll start with G, C, E, and then here instead of picking the 5th fret of A, we take the pinky off, which reveals that 2nd fret that the bar is covering, and pick that 2nd fret of A, and then C string one more time. So let's go back and put this entire bar together very slowly. And that will launch us into bar 2, which goes like this. To play that section, we just got out of our G5 position, and now we're going into an E minor. E minor, in case you don't know, is 2nd fret, index on the 2nd fret of A, middle finger on the 3rd fret of E, and ring finger on the 4th fret of E. And for this first strum, we're not going to actually hit the A string. It will just be the G, C, and E. So just those top 3. And then once you've done that, we're just gonna leave the chord there, pick G, and then the C string. And we're actually gonna pick the open A for this next note. We're not gonna pick the second fret just yet. We're gonna pick open A first, and then put the index finger back down on the second fret and pick that. And then just pick the C string one more time. From this E minor position, we're going to jump into an A minor position. And it'll be that same one from earlier that includes the ring finger on the third fret of the A. We're going to strum that once, the entire chord, and then we just get to leave the chord there and pick all the strings. So we're going to start with G, C string, E string. Before we get to the A, we're going to remove the ring finger, so we're playing the open A, and then just pick the C string one more time. And now we're actually in the exact position we need to be in, because here we're just going to strum another A minor, but we're not going to have the ring finger on the third fret of A this time. It'll just be a standard A minor. And then just pick each string one more time. We're going to start with G, then C. Now we are going to pick the E string, but before we do, we're going to put our pinky or your ring finger, whichever is more comfortable, on the fourth fret of the E string, and pick that once. And then open A and open E. Next, we're going to go into one more chord. We're going to go into an E7, which you probably already know, but just in case, that E7 is just going to be the index finger on the first fret of G, middle finger on the second fret of C, and ring finger on the second fret of A. And we're going to strum the entire chord, and leaving the chord there, we're just going to go back and forth a bit between the G string and C string. So start with G, then C, and G again. Here we're going to pick the E string, but again we have that pinky coming up to the fourth fret. And then just the C string. And the final note of this first section comes in the beginning of the next bar, and it's just picking that first fret of the G with the open E. And so let's put this second half of the song that we just learned together very slowly. So starting at the beginning of measure 5, that E minor. That concludes the first section of the song. You can get the second part of the tutorial and the tabs for both the intermediate and easy version at ukeondemand.com. Make sure to subscribe below so you don't miss out on our upcoming fingerstyle tutorials. We'll see you next time.